Oh, hey everybody, and welcome back. Right, so today we've got an article from The Sun about Boris's actual plan, his 11th hour Brexit deal, apparently, right? So we're going to have a look through this, see exactly what he's put forward, and we'll comment from there. One good thing, well, I don't know if it's a good thing, but one thing, this is coming from The Sun. This is a UK scandal rag, and I mean a fucking real scandal rag. And but we'll just dive right in and have a look at this. Right, so Brex make it work. Boris Johnson reveals his 11th hour Brexit deal to break deadlock with the EU after warning UK is ready to walk away. You damn right we are. And look at that, just before we go, the news site of the year, aye, very fucking good. The man himself. Boris Johnson has set out his grand plan to replace the controversial Irish backstop in a bid to reach an 11th hour Brexit deal with the EU. The Prime Minister is now gearing himself up for 10 days of intensive discussions with the EU as he tries to finally get a Brexit deal over the line. Mr Johnson published his plans after making a barnstorming speech to Tory party conference. I should probably say to a Tory party conference, use actual. Never mind. He has proposed Northern Ireland follow all Brussels rules on goods as well as food and livestock. In a key caveat, the people of the province must consent to this within 9 months by June 2020 through either a vote in the Stormont Assembly or possibly a Northern Ireland-wide referendum. That would be very interesting to see how that one would turn out. As part of his plans, Northern Ireland will get a new deal to boost its economy and infrastructure, and is likely to include billions of pounds in extra cash for the province. Well, see, if that is actually true and that would get pushed through, that would be brilliant for Ireland. I mean, absolutely brilliant. Northern Ireland, anyway. The move is a major departure from the British government's 3-year-long insistence on the same rules for all of the UK. No, it's just one of those things. In exchange, Mr Johnson is asking for Britain to keep an independent UK-wide customs system so there's no limit on signing new trade deals. See, that actually sounds quite good. But how accurate is it, though? Yeah. But it will be enforced by electronic paper trails and standoff checks and inspections that will not mean any new infrastructure anywhere near the Irish border. Well, that would be alright if that was actually stuck to. Brussels reaction. Ooh. In a boost from Mr Johnson, President of the EU Commission Jean-Claude Juncker said he welcomed the PM's hunger for new talks. A spokesman said President Juncker acknowledged the positive advances, notably with regards to the full regulatory alignment for all goods and control of goods entering Northern Ireland from Great Britain. However, the President noted there are still some problematic points that will need further in the coming days, notably regards to the governance of the backstop. The backstop. The delicate balance struck by the Good Friday Agreement must be preserved. Does it really? Let me know in the comments if you agree with that. The EU chief added that substantive customs rules are also a concern and stressed that a hard border must be prevented. Juncker said, "The EU wants a deal. We remain united and ready to work 24/7 to make this happen as we have been for 3 years now." Fuck off, bollocks. Nonsense. You have been actively trying to subvert them. Ah, you fucking lying fuck. Oh, but we all know he's full of shit, so never mind. Fucking. Anyway, moving on. The EU chief Brexit negotiator Michael Barnier later added to Number 10's hopes by telling Sky News, "There is progress, but lots of work still needs to be done." The Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar, don't know, sorry, getting it wrong, don't care, said the new proposals did not fully meet the agreed objectives, but said he would study them further and consult with EU partners. I bet he fucking will. His spokesman said the Taoiseach, whatever, right, Prime Minister said the proposals do not fully meet the agreed objectives of the backstop. However, he indicated that he would study them in further detail and would consult with the EU institutions, including the task force and our EU partners. Like everybody else in Britain, working with the fucking EU. Oh, here we go. Meanwhile, Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn was swift to condemn the plan, saying it was worse than the withdrawal agreement negotiated by Theresa May and would undermine the Good Friday Agreement. This is coming from the Commissar Korbanov fucking communist fuckpig. That's really rich coming from this steptoe looking motherfucker, but still. Moving on. He said the Prime Minister appeared to be intent on a no-deal break with the EU. I kind of hope it does. I do, honestly. But a Labour MP, Stephen Kinnock, said if Dublin and Brussels are happy, then we're happy. He estimated around 30 Labour MPs could back a deal. There we go. He laid down his plans to Brussels bosses to get a deal in 10 days, but stressed the alternative was no deal. He said it was only by delivering Brexit they can finally get on with helping the left behind and ignored, yay, me, everybody, the 17.4 million people who voted to leave in the first place. Stressed that under no circumstances will there be any checks at or near the Northern Ireland border after we leave. Revealed how his entire family was split on Brexit, with his mum and himself voting leave, but sister Rachel, brother Joe and Dad Stanley backing Remain. Well, that doesn't surprise me. Have you read some of the shit his sister's come out with recently? Fuck off. Right. The PM has spelled out the terms of his deal in a letter to Mr Juncker delivered to him in Brussels at 3 PM this afternoon by his chief EU advisor, David Frost. In the letter, Mr Johnson described it as broad landing zone for an agreement, as number 10 sources made it clear he was prepared to shift position on its details. He described the backstop as a bridge to nowhere and insisted his plan was completely different to any other proposals before it. Well, we'll find out, won't we? But Downing Street sources also made it clear that the PM would not be budged from his two key red lines: an independent UK customs regime and a trade policy, and the principle of giving Northern Irish people consent. Mr Johnson also told Mr Juncker that the deal he is proposing will only succeed if there is sufficient willingness to compromise and move beyond existing positions. Right, this is the thing, I don't think they will, because Theresa May offered them such a fucking sweet deal as far as they're concerned. Meaning we would literally be in the European Union and have absolutely no say in anything. So we'd be out in name only, but we would still be bound by all the rules, regulations, like the free movement, everything, all that stuff. We'd be bound by the whole fucking lot, but have absolutely no say in anything. We'd basically become a vassal state. But anyway, he pleaded, our predecessors have tackled harder problems, we can surely solve this one. Backstop, bend, ooh, very, 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 there we go. But this is the sun, isn't it? The PM also warned there is now very little time left as the deal must be placed before the crunch in October 17 summit of all EU leaders. Fail to strike a deal would be a failure of statecraft for which we would all be responsible. The PM hopes that rapid negotiations can now start towards a solution which will include comprehensive free trade agreement in the future. And what should say in the future? Never mind, that's just me personally. Downing Street sources also feared that Ireland would use a new law rushed through by rebel MPs to delay Brexit again if there is no deal as an excuse to reject the grand compromise. Senior Irish politicians showed initial interest in Boris's customs plan over the summer, the sources said. But their calculations changed when the Surrender Act went through last month. And there's that quote there from Boris to Jean-Claude Juncker. Or Jean-Claude Dunker. Anyway, rumours of the plan had also already started to abound in Brussels, with some there also insisting on dismissing it out of hand. One senior EU source said this cannot be his last plan, it is unworkable to disassociate customs from the regulatory regime. No, it's just unworkable for you, you stuck up fuckpig. Thank you very much for that, we have a problem. Or we got a problem, I love that guy. Anyway, but in a big... there is no point in even considering time limit on something that is not workable. But in a big boost for Mr Johnson, the DUP seemed happy to go along with the plan in a big shift in their own position. Leader of the party, Arlene Foster, said this afternoon it was a very sensible and balanced deal. Oh, there you go. And in a statement, the party said the new plan was entirely consistent with the Good Friday Agreement and they encouraged all concerned to approach these discussions in a positive mindset. Oh, there you go. That's coming from the leader of the party. Ooh. Now, this offer provides a basis for the EU to continue in a serious and sustained engagement with the UK government without risk to the internal market of the United Kingdom, the party added. Hey, anti-tracker. I like the anti-tracker, go figure. It comes as the UK government revealed that Northern Ireland would get nearly more than half of a £3 million growth of deals fund. 300 million, sorry. 300 million, Jesus Christ. Right, growth of deals fund to support growth, create jobs or invest in local projects. Mid, South West and Causeway Coast and Glens in Northern Ireland are to benefit from a 163 million share of a pot of cash revealed by the PM back in July. And there's a tweet from Arlene Foster. Right. Right, you can read that at your own time. Right. And here's the letter from the Prime Minister. What I'll do is I will read this. A fair and reasonable compromise. UK proposals for a new protocol in the Ireland, Northern Ireland. There is now very little time in which to negotiate a new agreement between the UK and the EU under Article 50. We need to get this done before October European Council. This government wants to get a deal, as I'm sure we all do. If we cannot reach one, it would represent a failure of the statecraft for which we would all be responsible. Our predecessors have tackled harder problems. We can surely solve this one. Both sides now need to consider whether there is sufficient willingness to compromise and move beyond existing positions to get us to an agreement in time. We are ready to do that, and in this letter sets out what I regard as a reasonable compromise, the broad landing zone in which I believe a deal can begin to take shape. Sorry, as I'm reading through this, I've got Boris's voice in my head saying it. Is that strange? Our proposed compromise removes the so-called backstop in the previous withdrawal agreement. I have explained the difficulties with this elsewhere, including the fact that it has been rejected 3 times by the UK Parliament. Equally important in this context, the backstop acted as a bridge to a proposed future relationship with the EU in which the UK would be closely integrated with the EU customs arrangements and would align with EU law in many areas. That proposed future relationship is not the goal of the current UK government. The government intends that the future relationship should be based on free trade agreement, which the UK keeps control of its own regulatory affairs and trade policy. In these circumstances, the proposed backstop is a bridge to nowhere, and a new way forward must be found. So we're not getting any more of that then. Right, well here's the aims. Promise to find a solution that is compatible with the Good Friday Agreement, which I'm pretty sure the leader of the party, Arlene Foster, said it was in line with the Good Friday Agreement. A commitment to the UK-Ireland collaboration, ensuring people can continue to travel between Ireland and the UK. That would be good, because driving down between Northern Ireland and Ireland is fantastic. Just drive through the border, just woof, there you go. Brilliant. No border checks in Northern Ireland for goods and agri-food, creating a new zone of travel. That would be amazing. A vote for Northern Ireland politicians to sign off the deal, and more votes every 4 years. That would be good. Northern Ireland stays part of the customs zone, not the EU, so he can continue to do other trade deals. So the plan. No checks at the border, electronic paperwork conducted elsewhere, and more help for Northern Ireland to boost the economy and support. Let's get it done. It comes just after Hours made his first conference speech to the party faithful, vowing to push for a compromise, deal or leave without an agreement. He threw down the gauntlet to Brussels to go for his new compromise for both sides or face no deal in just days. And in a 35-minute rallying cry, he insisted he would get Brexit done 8 times. So then he could focus on delivering what really matters to ordinary Brits. Getting his party ready for a gruelling election campaign, Boris laid out his optimistic plan to create a country for everyone. There are so many reasons to be confident about our country and its direction, he told the packed hall. There's his restatement. Let's get it done. Let's bring our country together. Yay. Let's get this thing done, and then let's get ready to make our case to the country, he vowed. Boris took aim at communist cosmonaut Jeremy Corbyn and for radical anti-Semitist Marxist in the Labour Party. Oh, right, okay, never mind. That was actually just, I can't believe the Sun just said that. I can't be quoted on, but there we go. Let us send him into orbit where he belongs, he cried of the lefty boss. Boris hammered home how he would deliver more cash for the NHS, schools and police in number 10. As PM, he will plough billions into infrastructure and broadband, and stress that tax cuts are to come too. Let's get on with the sensible modern one nation but tax cutting Tory government. the PM said. On Brexit, he slammed the Remain alliance for refusing to hold an election to let voters decide on the way forward, saying voters have more say over "I'm a celebrity" than Parliament. That is actually a very good quote, Boris. At least we would have. That's brilliant. Right, that's his quote, yeah. Right, here we go. He joked, if Parliament were a reality TV show, the whole lot of us, I'm afraid, would have been voted out of the jungle by now. But at least we would have had the consolation of watching the Speaker being forced to eat a kangaroo testicle. I'm just going to play him saying that anyway.
So many reasons to be confident about our country and its direction, and yet I feel sometimes we're like a world-class athlete with a pebble in our shoe. There is one part of the British system that seems to be on the blink. If Parliament were a laptop, then the screen would be showing, I'm afraid, the pizza wheel of doom. If Parliament were a school, Ofsted would be shutting it down or putting it in special measures. If Parliament were a reality TV show, then the whole lot of us, I'm afraid, would have been voted out of the jungle by now. But at least we'd have had the consolation of watching the Speaker being forced to eat a kangaroo testicle. And
Oh, isn't that fun? Right. In his first conference address as PM, he insisted, we can, we must, and we will be out of the EU on the October the 31st, although he admitted that things have not been made easy by the surrender bill, which could force him to seek a third delay. Let's get it done because delay is so pointless and expensive, he said. After 45 years of really dramatic constitutional change, we must have a new relationship with the EU. What Leavers want, what Remainers want, what the whole world wants is to be calmly and sensibly done with the subject and to move on. Absolutely. And that is why we're coming out of the EU on October the 31st, come what may. We are here to serve the democratic will of the British people. And that's Boris and Leo. Yeah. The Sun says, we are not optimistic the EU will buy into Boris's New Deal. Yeah, I'm not either. For the moment, it is being respectful enough, but Ireland can't wait to trash it. Yep. And the so-called Surrender Act, I don't like to call it so-called, because it is a fucking Surrender Act, drafted and approved by the Remainer MPs, gives them every confidence we will ultimately seek an extension and maybe even rerun the referendum. But here's the thing, here's a statement. If the EU gambles on that and knocks Boris back, it's clear who's to blame. I bet Boris will get blamed for it, but it'll be the EU themselves that fucking do it. And there's Boris and his girlfriend. Oh look, we pay for your stories. Do you have a story? Of course the Sun pay for your stories. Right, well that seems to be it then. Let's go back up. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think. Let me know if you think that's a good thing. Remember the leader of the Irish party, Foster, I can't bother going back through to find her name again. She said it was okay with the Good Friday Agreement. Everyone's concurrent with that. It honours the Good Friday Agreement, and well, for lack of remembering exactly what she said, but it was in line with the Good Friday Agreement. So the EU, are they talking shit, or do they have a different idea of what the Good Friday Agreement is? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for watching. I know this is a bit of a longer one, but it is a good subject to talk about, exactly what he's put forward, and we know exactly now what the EU is probably going to reject, and we'll come out with a no deal. But never mind, that's not what the aim is according to the government. We want a deal that's good for everybody, but if we have to come out with one without one, go for it, and I'm alright with that too. So, thanks again for watching. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll catch you all in the next one.